Nifty 91.50 hanging out with the dew. I'm just here reminiscing about the Rensselarville 51. And it was a night to remember, and no one will ever forget. Robbie was on the front steps strumming his guitar, and near everybody in town was there. And they were hanging in the kitchen, and they were hanging off the porches, and they were out on the lawn doing various unsundry things. And Alex was on the banjo, and Larry on the electric guitar, and myself strumming the big stand-up bass. And Jack was warming up the little house with the half moon, and John was in the front yard watering up a tree, and Joe Bob was just sitting there holding hands with Jim Joe. And the keg was tapped and empty, and the rest of the boys were playing soccer with it on the front porch. And the bubblegum cruisers pulled up to the barn, and Barry sneaked out the back door and ran into the woods. It was a bus. The troopers stood there watching us and watching the sheriffs arrest us. And they loaded 51 of us into the paddy wagons. They booked us, fingerprinted us, and locked us in their locker room. And there was far too many of them to put in a Crowbar hotel. And remember, John was slipping joints into the sheriff's lockers through the vents in the doors. And it was early morning before we all skipped out. Turned out that Chad's mother, Betty, was teed off at him and got her sheriff lover to stage a bust. And also it turned out that the judge, a loving man, goofed up on the arrest warrant, it seems purposely, and we were all set free. Yeah, some got in trouble with their parents, and another like me lost his job. It was an August full moon on Lake Myosotis, and one that no one will ever forget. So it's called the Rensselarville 51 and the Moon Fugue. The front door hummed with Robbie's guitar, and the whole damn town pressed close as a scar. The kitchen thick with the banjo twang, and Larry's electric howl and Harry's bass twang. Jack stood by the hearth, a half-moon glow, while John tread on a lazy rainbow. Joe Bob clung to Joe's hand, and keg dry kicked like a tin can, and the boys turned soccer hooligans in the side yard dust, till the cruisers came and bubblegum lights flashed over us. Barry bolted a streak through the pines, and the sheriff shrugged and counted 51 crimes. The locker room locked, fingerprints and ink, and John fed joints through the vents, I think. Dawn cracked bail like a bad punchline, and Betty's revenge and a lover's crooked sign. And the judge blundered and set the moon laughing free. Jobs lost, parents raving by Lake Myosotis. Forget-me-not, August hot tongue licked the warrants undone. This night's still strumming, never quite undone. And Ray, early that morning, was seen by the Ordway house, mowing the grass, repeatedly breaking up the evidence unseen. You hear about the police arresting a world tongue twister champion? I imagine he'll be given a tough sentence. And my neighbor just got arrested for growing weed. I guess my property line ain't where I thought it was. August full moon, Lake Myosotis gleaming, and Rensselarville 51, a night worth dreaming. Robbie on the front steps strumming his guitar low. Near everyone in town had nowhere else to go. The air was thick with laughter and the sweet smell of smoke. Oh, that summer haze, purple haze. Just a regular old gathering in those end of summer days. In the kitchen, notes were flying, a joyful, noisy din. Alex on the banjo, looking time spin, and Larry's on the electric humming, and soulful country wail, and Hairman on the stand-up bass telling a tall tale. And Jack was warming up by the old half-moon out on the garden gate, while John in the front yard watered up a tree. 'Twas getting late. Oh, Rensselarville 51, a night we won't forget, a story whispered round like a secret we ain't told yet. From the music sweet and the low to the sudden wild surprise, the August full moon shining of 51 pairs of eyes, and Joe Bob was dancing just low, sitting there and shy, holding hands with Jimmy Joe beneath the open sky. Full peg was tapped, and now it was empty shell, and the rest of the boys, well, they were just raising holy hell, playing soccer, kicking it like bejeepers out on the side porch, and the wild, youthful game that never quite came. Never saw it coming, and the cruisers called our name. Suddenly, red and blue and flashing bubblegum lights, bubblegum cruisers pulled up by the barn in the fading light, and Barry sneaked through the back door. A streak of desperate sound ran like a squared rabbit. Deep in the woods he drowned. It was a bus, plain and simple, a shadow on the fun, and the troopers stood back, watching what the sheriffs had begun. Oh, Rensselarville 51, a night we won't forget, a story whispered round like the secret we ain't told yet. From music sweet and low to sudden wild surprise, the August full moon shining in 51 pairs of eyes, and they rounded up the whole crowd, almost most of the town. No one of us alone, no less. Packed us in the paddy wagons, that glorious mess, while the sheriffs just stood there and watched the sheriffs make a fool of themselves. And down the mountain they ran to the station house. There was no Crowbar Hotel or cage big enough for so many souls in tiny cells, and the memory won't find, so they booked us and fingerprinted us and locked them in their locker room. Through the vents and the doors, John slipped joints, chased away the gloom. It was early morning light before we slipped out of the lowlands. Turned out Chad's mama Betty had a bitter, angry trail. She was teed off at her boy and got the sheriff, her lover, to conspire to stage the whole darn bus and set the night on fire. But the local judge, bless his heart, he goofed up on the warrant with a smile on that arrest warrant. Fed us all just a little freedom in a while. Some folks got grounded. One like myself lost his job, it's true, but the August full moon on Lake Maya showed us his shining new. Yeah, Rensselarville 51 etched deep in our memory's core, a night we'll tell our grandkids and forevermore. Never gonna forget it, not a single soul. The night we almost got busted, but it came out whole. Up high in paradise, where it wasn't long before the lover's cross was set ablaze on his front lawn. Now the police said to me, "You're under arrest." And I said, "Why, officer?" And the police officer said, "Well, because you've been transporting 3 people at once on that motorcycle." Me? Did you say 3? Police, that's correct. Dang it! I lost Sam. Nifty 91.50, 7 to 9 in the morning, hanging out with the dude.